So, welcome everybody back to our Thinking Thursday. It's been a fantastic platform for people to listen to some words of wisdom from so many of our guest speakers. And today, as always, we have Acharya Vinod Sharma ji, who's going to be talking to us from Hong Kong on Bhagavad Puran. And this is our fifth session. So, if all of you have missed out on the first four sessions, please go to my YouTube channel and the playlist is called Thinking Thursday. और आप देख पाएंगे कि हमारे प्रीवियस चार सेशंस वहाँ पे ऑलरेडी है, तो you can even follow through if you missed out a couple of them. So every Thursday for the last 2.5 years, the Zoom meetup group has been meeting regularly, and we have some amazing guests who grace this platform. And all of us are deeply grateful for everybody who comes and shares their knowledge with us. So, Vinod Sharma ji has been really kind enough to come forward and give us this long 6 months is what he said, that 6 महीने अगर आप सुनेंगे तो वो सब कुछ हमें बता सकते हैं, the amount of knowledge that he has and the way he shares it, you know, with his smile and his demeanor and in a simplistic manner कि हम सब समझ सके उस चीज़ को. तो मेरे हिसाब से आप सभी को इसका फ़ायदा लेना चाहिए, और अगर आप मिस भी करते हैं तो आप थिंकिंग थर्सडे यूट्यूब चैनल जो मेरी है वहाँ पे आप प्रीवियस सेशंस भी सुन सकते हैं. सो विनोद शर्मा जी, थैंक यू सो मच अगेन. We are really grateful for this opportunity that we have. पढ़ना एक चीज़ होती है. People keep reading the Bhagavad Gita, the Puran, the Upanishad, पर कहते हैं कि जब आप सुनते हैं, especially from somebody who has the knowledge of it, it's very different. So मुझे लगता है कि when we listen to you, somehow whatever we have read comes to us in a very beautiful manner. और जिस तरह से आप सिखाते हैं या सुनाते हैं, I will say, the kind of examples that you give, practically जो आप समझाते हैं, मुझे लगता है कि उससे we can utilize that knowledge in our daily life. और मुझे लगता है that is the most important thing of all these spiritual books, कि उस knowledge को हम अपनी रोज़मर्रा के जीवन में उतार पाए. I think that is really the purpose with which the rishis wrote these wonderful scriptures. So, Vinod Sharma ji, please, on to you, and welcome once again.
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. I'm grateful to you and I feel really honored for giving me this platform to share our sublime vision for our scriptures, mainly this the greatest of epics called Bhagavad Mahapuran. It is Mahapuran, that means the greatest of all epics. So thank you very much. I'm really indebted to you to give me this opportunity. And you told me that yes, when I discussed with Varshaji, so we kept 6 months aside for this, and that means twice a month, so total 12 sessions we will be having. But I'm not sure whether we can complete the whole Bhagavatam in that period. And let's see whether people who are here or who are hearing later on YouTube, whether they will be interested enough to continue our discussion.
Sure. Absolutely. I think taking the first step was more important.
Very
तो
true.
मुझे लगता है कि हमने पहला स्टेप लिया हुआ है इस पर्टिकुलर डायरेक्शन में, तो आगे तो चलता ही रहेगा, because there is immense knowledge everywhere. और मुझे लगता है कि ये हमने एक फर्स्ट स्टेप लिया है कि we are doing something for a long period of time. So मुझे लगता है कि धीरे धीरे people will definitely want to learn more, and then we can definitely continue further. So thank you. हाँ जी.
And I want to share with you what Trupti ji, you said that reading, hearing is one thing, but we need to imbibe the qualities of different characters in our scriptures and try to live as much as possible, try to live according to the instructions or injunctions given in the scriptures. Many times what happens, we are not able to follow each and everything. Of course, those things cannot be expected to be followed 100%, but whatever percentage, even small percentage, if we are able to follow, the reciprocation from Krishna, can be very immense. We cannot measure the reciprocation or the mercy Krishna bestows upon us. When we are even making an attempt to follow, whether we succeed in following or not, that's a different thing. But if your effort is very sincere, attempt is very sincere, to that sincere effort also Krishna reciprocates. Many times, I think most of you might have heard in our school days, primary school days, secondary school days, this example was very commonly shared by many teachers. Now, see, these kind of examples many times are shared to demean the wisdom given in our scriptures. So, one example which was very commonly used many years ago, and now also many times people use it, that there was a sage, a sadhu, he was riding on a boat, and there were some young college students on the same boat. So the sage asked the students, college students, have you read Bhagavad Gita? The students said no. Then the sage said, your 25% life is wasted. Then he asked them, have you read Ramayana? They said no. Then sadhu said, your 50% life is wasted. Then he asked them, have you read Bhagavatam? They said no. He said, your 75% life is wasted. Then he asked, have you read Mahabharata? They said no. Then he said, your 100% life is wasted. So at that time, some kind of disturbance happened in the river water, and the boat was shaking. So the students asked Sadhu, do you know how to swim? Sadhu said no. Then the students told him, actually not ours, your 100% life is going to be wasted. So now this kind of example, normally they are many times shared to demean the education, the knowledge, wisdom given in the scriptures. That means the college students were implying by telling Sadhu like that in a sarcastic way that whatever he studied, everything is Western. So now Sadhu had theoretical knowledge. But if we see in all the scriptures, when we talk about Ramayana, Mahabharata, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, we hear about Lord's childhood pastimes. Now, for example, Krishna's pastimes. We are talking from Bhagavatam, discussing on Bhagavatam. So in Krishna's pastimes, Krishna, when he was a small child, few years old, with his cowherd friends, used to go to Yamuna, and they used to swim there, right? So that means swimming was part of their life. So Sadhu, he had the theoretical knowledge, but he did not learn how to swim. So he did not apply the stories which were mentioned in the Bhagavatam, which are mentioned in the Bhagavatam, in his practical life. So he did not know how to swim. So he just only had the theoretical knowledge, right? So the point I want to make here, that these kind of things which are mentioned in the scriptures, we need to apply practically also. Now, this is at the material platform, but from the spiritual perspective, when the college students told Sadhu like that in a sarcastic way, now Sadhu, though material life would be wasted, he would drown in the river because he did not know how to swim. He may die. But because he had the scriptural knowledge, he was not so much attached to his body. Even if he was going to lose his body by drowning in the water, it won't make any difference to him. But he would be able to cross over the ocean of the material existence, what the college students would not be able to do. हाँ, साधु जो है वो भवसागर तर सकता है, वो भले नदी में तैरना नहीं जानता हो, लेकिन भवसागर तो तर जाएगा वो, क्योंकि उसके पास वो ज्ञान है.
बिल्कुल.
और ये जो कॉलेज के जो विद्यार्थी थे, महाविद्यालय के जो विद्यार्थी थे, उनके पास भौतिक ज्ञान था, लेकिन आध्यात्मिक ज्ञान नहीं होने के कारण वो नदी में तो तैर सकते हैं, लेकिन भवसागर नहीं तैर सकते.
Absolutely, that's right.
Right?
बहुत बढ़िया.
Yeah. So sometimes we need to see the intention behind intention of the people when they share these kind of examples to belittle what is mentioned in our scriptures. And when we do not know, sometimes if we don't know the knowledge at a deeper level, then we also become influenced by what these people who give such examples are giving this. So we need to be very careful about it. So we are starting today's session. So as usual, we will offer our respectful obeisances to the higher personalities who can bestow their mercy so that we can discuss this sublime topic beautifully. So please repeat after me. Narayanam
Narayanam
Namaskritya
Namaskritya
Naram
Naram
Chaiva
Chaiva
Narotamam
Narottamam
Devim
Devim
Saraswatim
Saraswatim
Vyasam
Vyasam
Tato
Tato
Jayam
Jayam
Udirayet.
Udire.
Now I would humbly request if someone from you can read the translation for the benefit of all of us. Shapataraji, would you like to read?
Anybody else?
Okay, I'll read.
Yeah, ma'am, please.
Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which
Yes.
is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisance unto the personality of Godhead Narayana, onto Nara or onto Nar Narayana Rishi, the supermost human being, onto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and onto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. So let us offer our obeisance to them for giving us this precious knowledge.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So some of you may remember what we discussed in our previous session 2 weeks ago. We were talking about Bhishma Dev. So you remember, right?
Yes.
We talked about Bhishma Dev. When he was leaving his body, he had to wait till the Makar Sankranti, when the sun planet would move to the northern hemisphere. And before that time, Krishna told Maharaj Yudhishthir that he should go and get knowledge from Bhishma Dev because he was full of knowledge. So that part we discuss. Now, coincidentally, on a social media, I received a message in which there was a comparison made between Bhishma Dev's departure from this world and departure of the great devotee of Lord Ram, Jatayu. You may remember in Ramayana, Valmiki Ramayana, Ramcharitmanas, the glorification of Jatayu, right? A very gigantic vulture, correct? Who fought with Ravana to protect Mother Sita. He kept fighting with Ravana, even though he knew very well that he could not defeat Ravana. He was very old bird, and Ravana was very powerful. So Ravana, using his sword, he cut his wings, Jatayu's wings, and Jatayu helplessly fell on the ground. So he could not save Mother Sita. But when Lord Ram and Lakshman uh, arrived at the spot where Jatayu was just waiting, holding his breath before dying, he wanted to inform Lord Ramachandra what had happened to Mother Sita. And Lord Ramachandra held him in his lap, and Jatayu, after informing what happened, how he fought with Ravana, and where Ravana took Mother Sita, Jatayu left his body. So Jatayu died or departed while keeping his head in Lord Ramachandra's lap. So in the message, it was mentioned that, because Jatayu, though he was helpless, he was weak, but he protested. He fought, he objected, and he fought with Ravana. And while fighting with Ravana, he lost his wings, and later on, Lord Ramachandra came and took him in his lap, and then Jatayu left after informing Lord Ramachandra what had happened to Mother Sita. and Lord Ramachandra did the cremation ceremony, as you know, as like he was his father figure. And on the other hand, Bhishma Dev, he had to lie on the bed of arrows in the painful situation, because he did not object when Draupadi was being robed, or an attempt was made to disrobe Draupadi in the court of Kauravas. So Bhishma Dev was present there, and Bhishma Dev did not protest, did not object. He did not chastise Dushasana Duryodhana. In spite of having the knowledge, he did not do that. And because he did not protest it, that's why his life was ended in that way. But actually, we should not compare different devotees, because different devotees, they were in different moods, and different kind of service were allocated to them. So according to that, they played their role. Now, in case of Bhishma Dev, we cannot undermine Bhishma Dev's devotion. We cannot compare Bhishma Dev's devotion with that of Jatayu. Bhishma Dev also was so fortunate, he was so dear to Krishna, because Krishna knew very well that Bhishma Dev could not get up and go and personally meet Krishna, because he was lying on the bed of arrows. Krishna himself went to see him with Pandavas. So see how fortunate Bhishma Dev also was. When Bhishma Dev was going to leave the body, Krishna knew what time he will be leaving the body. After the sun moves to the northern hemisphere, the day of the demigods would start. So Krishna knew it very well, and then Krishna went to see Bhishma Dev. So Bhishma Dev also was very fortunate. He was not an ordinary devotee. So it is my humble request that when you see such messages, do not be so much kind of influenced by these words of comparison, and start comparing between different devotees. We should not undermine Bhishma Dev's devotion. He had so much of devotion towards Krishna. He had so much devotion that on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, many of you may know that before the war started, Krishna took a vow that he would not fight, he would not carry any weapon. He did that pratigya, right? That sankalpa. So when Bhishma Dev heard that Krishna had done that pratigya, he had taken that vow. So Bhishma Dev also took a vow that he would compel Lord Krishna to carry the weapon on the battlefield. And it happened, right? When Krishna saw that Arjuna was not fighting sincerely with wholeheartedly with Bhishma Dev, so Krishna himself jumped from the chariot, and he took a wheel of a broken chariot, a Sudarshan Chakra, and wanted to attack Bhishma Dev. So Bhishma Dev reminded him of his pratigya, his sankalpa, his vow, that you are breaking your vow which you took before the beginning of the war. So Krishna told him that, to protect my devotees' vow, I can break my own vow. मैं अपनी प्रतिज्ञा तोड़ सकता हूँ अपने भक्त की प्रतिज्ञा का मान रखने के लिए. So Bhishma was not an ordinary devotee. That's the point I want to make here, right? So now today we will continue that discussion. So Bhishma Dev left this planet. He got elevated, liberated. Now after that, Krishna also left Hastinapur to go to Dwarika. Now this part, how Krishna left Hastinapur and how he was welcomed in Dwarka, we can discuss on some other time, because we need very long duration of time for that. So after that, after Krishna left, then in Hastinapur, people were looking very morose, because such a huge war took place, big war took place, and so many people got killed, so many warriors got killed. So Pandavas were feeling the vacuum in this Rajya Sabha, in the parliament, in the court, that many senior members from the family, Kuru family, they left this planet. And as I mentioned during last discussion, Maharaj Yudhishthira was blaming himself, that he was responsible for killing of all the warriors, and Krishna pacified him. But still, after pacification from Krishna, Maharaj Yudhishthira was still not completely pacified. He was feeling very low emotionally. So at that time, Vidura arrived. Now during the war, Vidura was not there, right? Who is Vidura?
Uncle.
Uncle of?
Uncle of Kauravas, Pandavas,
Yes,
Yudhishthir, Arjun, even for Duryodhan.
correct. He was the younger brother of Dhritarashtra and Pandu, right? So he was born from a maid servant's womb. His father also was Vyasadev, like Dhritarashtra and Pandu. So same father, but mother was different. Vidura's mother was the maid servant of Ambika. So because of that, he was treated as a maid servant. But because he was very learned, he was very knowledgeable. The meaning of Vidura means very wise person, very learned person, very mature person. So because of his knowledge and because of his straight thinking, he was appointed as the prime minister of Kuru dynasty. So he was very respectable figure, very respectable person. But Duryodhana was not so happy with him because Duryodhana saw that Vidura was always supporting Pandavas. And Vidura, because he was a kind of a very straightforward person, he used to believe in ethics, principles. So he knew that Pandavas were very straightforward, very honest people. That's why he was supporting Pandavas. So Duryodhana had some kind of hatred from childhood. He had some hatred against this Vidura. So here we need to understand at little deeper level. During the war, Vidura was not there, right? Before the war started, Duryodhana and Arjuna, they went to ask for help from Krishna, right? Everybody knows that, right? So there, Duryodhana arrived before Arjuna. At that time, Krishna was taking rest. So Duryodhana went and sat near the head side of Krishna. And Arjuna, being a humble person, very submissive person, he went and sat near the feet of Krishna. So when Krishna woke up, Krishna first saw Arjuna, right? So we know the whole pastime that, Krishna asked Arjuna that who he wanted the help from. On one side, he said that Narayani Sena will be there, army, and on the other side, he will be alone. And that also he will not fight, he will not take any weapon. And Arjuna chose Krishna. And then Duryodhana got Narayani Sena. And after that, he went and seek the blessings from Balram, and after that he left. And Arjuna also went and asked for help from Balram, but Balram refused. Right? So now Krishna, after that, still Krishna was hoping that some kind of peace, truce can be made before the war starts, because he knew that war can be very disastrous. So Krishna, as a last attempt, a last try, he went to Kauravas and he asked for the 5 villages. He said, just give me 5 villages for 5 Pandavas, because they are warriors. So they cannot, as like Brahmanas, go and beg. So warriors are supposed to rule over piece of land. And that also Duryodhana refused. Right? Now, at that time, it is very interesting to know, for you also it will be very interesting to know. Now, Krishna, see very diplomatically how he handled the whole situation. When he went there in Hastinapur, now see, diplomatically, Krishna was very diplomatic also. He knew the Rajniti, he knew politics, he knew diplomacy very well. So he went as a peace messenger from Maharaj Yudhishthir, who was supposed to be the king, emperor of Indraprastha. And he was going to ask for Indraprastha back from Dhritarashtra, who also was the king of Hastinapur. Either Dhritarashtra or his son, crown prince, Duryodhana. So if we follow the diplomacy, if we follow the politics, Rajniti, so Krishna was the guest of Maharaj Dhritarashtra and Duryodhana. So when Duryodhana asked Krishna to stay in Dushasan's palace, Krishna should have accepted that proposal. That's the proper diplomacy, right? As an ambassador of Pandavas, he should reside at the place which is provided by the other king. Krishna did not do that. Krishna purposely told Duryodhana that he would go and stay with Vidura. Now, I'm not sure whether you have heard this incident.
Yes,
The secret I'm taught. This part, most of you must be knowing. But the reason why Krishna did that, see, Krishna very diplomatically he played here. Krishna very well knew that Karna, Bhishma, Dronacharya, Kripacharya, all of them, they will fight from Duryodhana's side. So Krishna knew that Pandavas could face all of them very easily. Because Karna was cursed by his own guru. That Karna would forget how to use Brahmastra when he would need it the most. His guru, Parshuram, had cursed Karna. So Krishna knew that. So he was not afraid of Karna. Dronacharya, he also was going to be killed by Drishtadyumna. Drishtadyumna was born to kill Dronacharya. So Krishna was not afraid of Dronacharya also. And regarding Bhishma Dev, Krishna very well knew that Bhishma Dev had so much love and affection for Pandavas. So he would not harm Pandavas. So Krishna was not afraid of Bhishma Dev also. Correct? And Kripacharya, because Kripacharya also was Pandavas and Kauravas guru. And he was very learned. So he also would not harm Pandavas, though he was going to be he was the immortal person, but still he won't harm Pandavas. So Krishna was not scared of him also. Krishna was most concerned about Vidura, because Vidura was the prime minister of Kauravas. And Krishna thought that if Vidura comes on the battlefield to fight against Pandavas, Pandavas cannot face him. Vidura also had a special bow. The bow of Vidura's was called Govardhan. Each warrior, the bow they were carrying, each warrior, whatever bow they were carrying, they had a name. Like Arjuna had Gandiva, right? Gandiva bow. So Vidura had this Govardhan bow, and that bow was given to Vidura by Lord Vishnu himself. So Vidura had the boon from Lord Vishnu that as long as he carries that bow, his enemies cannot defeat him. So Krishna thought that if Vidura fights on behalf of Kauravas against Pandavas, Pandavas cannot win. So Krishna wanted to play a trick in such a way that Vidura doesn't fight at all. So to instigate fire, to provoke more anger in Duryodhana's heart, he refused Duryodhana's proposal that I won't stay with your brother, I won't stay with you. I will go and stay with Vidura. Another spiritual, devotional reason behind Krishna staying with Vidura was because after Pandavas got married to Draupadi, when Dhritarashtra called them back to Hastinapur, when they went to Hastinapur, Krishna and Balram also went with them. And Krishna was invited by Vidura for a meal. So when Krishna was having his meal, then in the discussion, he promised Vidura's wife that whenever, because Krishna liked the sabjis and whatever food items Vidura's wife had prepared, Krishna liked it so much. So Krishna told her that, whenever in future I come to Hastinapur, I will become your guest. So Vidura's wife asked Krishna at that time, in a very loving, affectionate way, Krishna, please remember, please don't forget what you said just now. So Vidura told his wife that Krishna, this is the quality Krishna has, he never forgets. He forgives people's offenses, but he doesn't forget even little bit of service if someone offers to him. So Krishna becomes indebted to that person. So Krishna will not forget. So to fulfill that promise, what he had made to Vidura's wife on his previous visit, Krishna chose to go and stay with Vidura. And the political, diplomatic reason was he wanted to provoke more anger, ignite more fire in the heart of Duryodhana by refusing his invitation. So Duryodhana became more angry. So when Duryodhana saw that, Krishna went and stayed with Vidura, so he became more angry with Vidura also. Already he had so much hatred against Vidura because Vidura was very loving. He had very loving relationship with Pandavas. So already he was hating Vidura for that. And now when Krishna went and stayed with him, he became more angry with Vidura. So next day in the court, when Krishna gave this proposal, he put forward this proposal that if Indraprastha, Duryodhana doesn't want to give Indraprastha back, he can keep it. Just only give 5 villages. So at that time, Vidura got up and Vidura was trying to explain, according to the numerology, according to the Jyotish Shastra, everything, that Pandavas fulfilled their promise of staying 12 years in exile and 1 year incognito. They did not break that promise, but Duryodhana refused to accept that. So when that back and forth that argument was happening between Vidura and Duryodhana became very angry and he humiliated Vidura that you are a son of a maid servant. We are favoring you, by making you prime minister, and you are taking undue advantage of that. You don't deserve to be prime minister of our Kuru dynasty. You are a low class person. So these kind of words, humiliating words, when Duryodhana spoke to Vidura, Vidura's heart was broken so much in front of so many great warriors. So at that time, as we know, Krishna, very diplomatic person. So Krishna got up at that time. Then Krishna, to remind Duryodhana again, and to make Vidura also understand that, Duryodhana is not the right person to support. So then he told Duryodhana that please stop, don't insult your uncle like that. After all, he's your uncle, If you keep on insulting, humiliating like him, like this, what you're doing in front of so many warriors, great warriors, maybe, Vidura will leave Hastinapur and he will go away. He will renounce everything and he will go away and he will not fight. If the war takes place, he will not support you. Though he's the prime minister, but still, he will not support your army. Duryodhana, because he was already angry, he says, so what? I don't care. If Vidura leaves me, I don't care. I have so many great warriors supporting me. They can fight on my behalf. So if Vidura leaves me, I don't care. So when Vidura heard that, like in English, we say that was the last straw which broke the camel's back, right? So Vidura, the bow he had from Lord Vishnu, Govardhan bow, he broke it. He said, now I want to renounce. I want to give up my prime ministership, this position, and I will go on and visit places of pilgrimage. And I will only come back after the war is over. I am not going to be the part of this war. So Krishna's purpose was served. The objective Krishna had in his mind, he wanted somehow Vidura also to give up Duryodhana. So when Vidura did that, Krishna smiled. Krishna said, now Pandavas are safe. Nobody can harm them. So this is what Krishna does. Right? Any question here? Or any comment?
No, it is very interesting. Very interesting. और वो एक भजन भी है ना कि दुर्योधन के मेवा त्याग
मेवा त्यागो साग विदुर खायो.
साग विदुर.
Yes.
लेकिन इसके पीछे इतनी डिप्लोमेसी थी वो तो आज पता चला.
Yeah, see, because Krishna also was a warrior. He was a Kshatriya. So he played diplomatically also. Similarly, I want to share, since we are talking about diplomacy done. See, whenever Krishna comes in any form, he follows the rules and regulations of this material world as well. So when he came in Treta Yuga as Lord Ramachandra, so Lord Ramachandra also, he handled these situations in a very diplomatic way. One incident I want to share with you, since we are talking about diplomacy by the Lord, by the Supreme Person, right? He should be neutral with everybody, right? He should be equal. But when it comes to supporting his devotees, Krishna becomes biased. He becomes partial. Krishna openly says that. He doesn't feel embarrassed by saying that, by announcing that. He said, when it comes to choosing between devotees and non-devotees, if I need to break any material law, the laws which I have stipulated, I don't care. By hook or crook, I will just save my devotees. So what had happened during Ram Leela, when Vibhishan, he told Ramana, after being instructed by Hanuman, that give Sita back to Lord Ramachandra and surrender to Lord Ramachandra, Ravana kicked him and told him to get out, leave Lanka. So Vibhishan and few of his good friends, very pious people, though they were demons, but very pious. So they left Lanka. And Vibhishan came and surrendered at the feet of Lord Ramachandra. So when he arrived there at the shore of that ocean near Rameshwaram, so when Sugriv saw Vibhishana was approaching Lord Ramachandra, so Sugriv told Lord Ramachandra, because Sugriv was very doubtful person, very suspicious, always suspecting everybody. And as a kind of a commander-in-chief of the army, it was his duty also to be like that. He could not be careless. So he told Lord Ramachandra that, actually he's Ravana's brother. He also is a demon. Maybe this is Ravana's some kind of trick, He's sending his younger brother to get some secrets from you. So we should not trust him. So Lord Ramachandra told Sugriv that, did you meet Vibhishan before? Sugriv said no. So Lord Ramachandra said, even I also did not meet him before. But Hanuman met him before. So why don't we ask Hanuman? What is his opinion about Vibhishan? So both of them, they asked Hanuman, they looked at Hanuman. Hanuman said that, Prabhu, please accept him. He's your devotee. Though he's Ravana's brother, but he's a devotee. He's a Vaishnava. He's not a demon. So now, Sugriv, Lord Ramachandra could see that Sugriv was still not happy. He was not satisfied. Now he could not displease Sugriv. Lord Ramachandra, as a king, he could not displease commander-in-chief of his army. Otherwise, how could he fight properly? So to keep Sugriva's respect also, his pride also, his reputation, his goodwill, Lord Ramachandra asked all the monkeys, the soldiers, go and stand in the queue on both sides and allow Vibhishan and his supporters, his friends, to come together. So if they try to be tricky, funny, immediately arrest them. And as long as they are moving quietly, without any problem, you just, welcome them nicely. So the message was given to Vibhishana that he was welcomed very nicely. Both sides, the soldiers were standing respectfully to welcome Vibhishan. So when this trick was applied, Sugriva was so happy. Sugriva felt so satisfied that Lord Ramachandra was respecting his words. So this is diplomacy, Lord Ramachandra said. Then after that, what happened? Diplomatically, what kind of message he sent to Ravana? So Ravana also had sent some spies, behind, following Vibhishan, to see that what is happening after Vibhishan meets Lord Ramachandra. And whatever happens, they should go and report to Ravana. So when Vibhishan went and fell at Lord Ramachandra's feet, Lord Ramachandra hugged him, embraced him, and then immediately prepared coronation ceremony for Vibhishan and appointed Vibhishan as the future king of Lanka. So Ravana's spies who were following Vibhishan, they saw that. And when they went back to Lanka, so Ravana asked what happened. So the spies told Ravana that when Vibhishan went there, Lord Ramachandra hugged him very nicely, welcomed him, and then he did the coronation ceremony and appointed Vibhishan as the future king of Lanka. So Ravana said, I am the king of Lanka. How can he appoint, Lord Ramachandra appoint? So spies said, that means Lord Ramachandra is so confident that he's going to kill you and he will win your Lanka, the Rajya of Lanka, and then he will give that Rajya, that kingdom, to Vibhishan. That means Lord Ramachandra is so confident. See the psychological effect on Ravana, how he must have felt. Ravana was still alive, but Lord Ramachandra did the coronation ceremony of his younger brother, appointed him the future king of Lanka. That means Ramachandra was so sure that he will be able to kill Ravana. So that kind of psychological effect he put on Ravana by doing the coronation ceremony of Vibhishan. So these kind of things, incidents, when we go at a deeper level, we understand that how very nicely, whether it's Lord Ram or Krishna, they play the Leela, their role, diplomatically, spiritually, in many aspects, socially. So coming back to this, Vidura, he left Hastinapur when he was humiliated by Duryodhana like that. He left Hastinapur. Now, everything, whatever happened, it was for the benefit of Vidura. Vidura went and met so many sages. And one sage, there is a conversation, we will talk about it later in Bhagavatam. Vidura's meeting with Maitreya. Maitreya was also Vyasadev's one of the prime disciples, Vyasadeva Shishya. So Vidura acquired knowledge from Maitreya Rishi. Maitreya Rishi initiated Vidura, accepted him as his disciple. So the meeting between Maitreya and Vidura is very interesting. So we'll discuss when that we reach to that point, the meeting between Vidura and Maitreya, the conversation between Vidura and Maitreya. We'll discuss in more detail. So Vidura was going to different places of pilgrimage, and the war took place. War was over also, and after the war was over, Vidura came back. After Krishna left Hastinapur, Vidura came back. So when Vidura came back, everybody felt so lively, especially Pandavas, because they had so much affection, respect, love for Vidura. So they felt very lively. So whatever grief they were experiencing after losing so many warriors, they forgot about that. That was the spiritual potency Vidura had, because he visited so many places of pilgrimage. So he was in charge. He was recharged spiritually. So because of the spiritual potency, when he came there, he could pacify, he could, make all the residents of Hastinapur very happy. I want to know from you if someone knows who was Vidura in his previous life.
He was Yamaraj.
Yes, Shakuntalaji. Would you like to
Yamaraj.
share? Would you like to share what happened?
Yes. He was Yamraj
Yes.
and got cursed that you have to live like Shudra.
Okay.
So, or maybe for 100 years or something. So
Yes.
Vidura was considered as a Shudra. Made
Correct.
house ko janam liya.
Yes. Now see, thank you, Shakuntalaji. See the hidden reason also behind it. Why Vidura had to take birth from the womb of a maid servant, Shudra, though his father was a Brahmana, Vyasadeva, but his mother was from a low class maid servants category. Because Yamaraj is one of the 12 Mahajans. We talked about 12 Mahajans last week. Bhishmadev also is one of the 12 Mahajans. So Yamaraj also is one of the 12 Mahajans. Now compared to other Mahajans, Narada Muni, Prahlad Maharaj, Shukdev Goswami, Janak Maharaj, all these other 12 Mahajans, Brahma, Yamaraj is busier. Yamaraj is busier than other Mahajans, because he has to keep a record of the sinful people. And according to the sins committed by different living beings, he has to announce the punishment. So, unfortunately, when he's doing his duty as Yamaraj, that Mahajan does not have enough time to preach the glories of the Lord. So there was a strong desire Yamaraj had when he saw Narada Muni, who is also one of the Mahajans, that going around freely, wherever he wants to go, he can travel. And wherever he can preach, he can start preaching. But Yamaraj was bound with his position to punish the sinful people. So he could not leave Yamlok. He had to be always in the Yamlok. So Yamaraj had desired, he wished, that he also could go around like Narada Muni and preach the glories of the Lord. So Lord, as Krishna as Paramatma in his heart, he heard his wish. He realized what was the wish Yamaraj had. So then whole situation was created by Krishna himself He made such an arrangement that Yamaraj was cursed by a Muni, Manduka Muni. Now, what was the reason that Manduka Muni cursed Yamaraj? Because in one kingdom, some thieves, they stole something and they went and hid themselves in the ashram of this Manduka Muni. So the soldiers of the king, when they started looking for these thieves, they came to the ashram of Manduka Muni. They found some valuables. They recognized the valuables of from the palace. So they arrested the thieves who were hiding there in the ashram, and they arrested Manduka Muni also. They thought that he was in charge. He was the main person, culprit. At that time, it is said Manduka Muni was sitting in the yogasana, lotus pose, meditating. So they carried Manduka Muni in that posture. They did not feel that it was a great offense to carry a sage like that. So they carried him. So when they brought him in front of the king. So king said that everybody should be given capital punishment. Now in Hindi we say suli pe chadana, right? Like a spear, shul. Just put them on the tip of the spear and let them die. So when Manduka Muni was placed on the tip of the spear, so his body started, nothing happened to him, only his body started bleeding. So he opened his eyes. Then with his yoga siddhi he had, he invited all the sages from different planets. He invited even Narada Muni also. See what this king, an ignorant king, is doing to me. And I don't know for what I have to pay this penalty. I was doing my yoga sadhana and the king's soldiers arrested me like this. So the sages requested king that, actually what you're doing is a great offense. Please bring him down. Otherwise, it will not be good for your spiritual practice, spiritual progress. You will go to hell. So king immediately got scared and he told his servants to bring that Manduka Muni down. So then king asked for forgiveness. Manduka Muni said, it is not your fault, but I want to go and see Yamaraj, that for what sin, what offense I committed that I have to go through this kind of penalty. So with his yoga power, yoga mystic power, he went to Yamaloka. And he challenged Yamaraj that I was punished like this for a few minutes. What was my fault? So Yamaraj told them that when he was a very small child, he pierced a thorn into the wing of a butterfly. So he caused that pain to that butterfly. So Manduka Muni said that I was a small child. I was very innocent. For that kind of activity, which was done out of innocence, ignorance, such a huge punishment, capital punishment. So you're not worthy of becoming a judge. So this is what you have done. Is like a very low class person, like a Shudra. So I curse you that you will be born as a Shudra in Mrityuloka and you have to live in Mrityuloka for 100 years. So Yamaraj, when he heard that, now Yamaraj is Mahajan. He could have counteracted. He could have countered the curse of Manduka Muni. So he took the advantage of that. So he chose the time when he would appear as Shudra on the earth planet. He chose the time when Lord Krishna also was present on the earth planet. So that kind of option was given to Yamaraj. He could choose the family. He could just choose the time also when he wants to take birth in Mrityuloka as a Shudra. So he chose Ambika's maidservant and he was born as Vyasadev's son. So Vaishnavas, they do that. Whenever any calamity also comes upon any devotee, so devotees normally they don't have any kind of hatred or any complaint against the Lord, against Krishna. They just take it as Krishna's prasad. And that material misery also, they make it work in their favor. They take it as a blessing from Krishna. so that material misery also becomes like a blessing for them. So the curse of Manduka Muni became the blessing for Vidura. He got an opportunity to take birth on the earth planet when Krishna himself was present, his worshipable Lord. And he could associate face to face, he can meet, he could serve Krishna personally. So Krishna fulfilled that desire Vidura had when he was in the form of Yamaraj, that he also could preach to the glories of Krishna to everybody. So then he learned all this Vedic wisdom. Of course, he was wise already, he was very learned person. But when Maitreya Muni, Vyasadev's disciple, shared with him more knowledge, deeper knowledge from the scriptures, Vidura became more potent spiritually. And after that, when he came to Hastinapur, he spoke to Dhritarashtra. Before also, many times he could speak to Dhritarashtra very openly, sometimes would chastise him that what Dhritarashtra was doing to Pandavas, it was not fair. It was not justice, not justifiable. So that injustice, Dhritarashtra did many times. He ignored Vidura many times. But now, Vidura was empowered by Maitreya Muni, his guru. And after that, when he came and spoke to Dhritarashtra, Dhritarashtra immediately, without wasting his time, immediately accepted what Vidura told him. I want to know from you if someone would like to share with me that what did Vidura tell Dhritarashtra after returning to Hastinapur?
He told that the time is not good and it is better for you to take sannyas and move away from this.
Very true. Very nice, Shakuntalaji. I'm very happy. Thank you for sharing this.
Welcome.
So, yeah, Vidura told him in a very strong words, Vidura told him that please let Pandavas live very happily now. You tortured them so many times, so many ways, directly and through your sons and through your associates. Now, Maharaj Yudhishthira has become the emperor. When they see you, they are reminded of the past incidents. So they cannot enjoy the kingdom because of those old memories. So as long as you're present here in front of them, you're visible to them, they will be reminded of the past incidents. So they will not be able to enjoy the kingdom. So if you want them to enjoy the kingdom, please leave. And also, you are at the age that you should not be living in a palace. You should renounce the world. You should take sannyas and go and live in the ashram till the last moment of your life. And you can get liberated by doing that. So by living in the palace, you will not get liberated. And he gave him very strong example. Now see, these examples are mentioned in the scriptures. He told Dhritarashtra that you are living at the mercy of your nephews, like a dog lives at the mercy of his master, telling his older brother as a dog. See our scriptures. When any kind of thing, we can back up by whatever instructions we are giving to others by the scriptures. We can use very strong words. Of course, we should not antagonize people unnecessarily. But when it comes to conveying a message, strong message, if strong words should be used, then should be used. One should not hesitate. Many times it happens, I want to share with you. A few times it has happened in our temple, ISKCON temple in Hong Kong. Some Indian congregation members, they complain that, you speak very harsh language. You should speak very politely, very like buttery language. So we tell them actually scriptures are not like that. Scriptures are for, the instructions in the scriptures are for our spiritual upliftment. When we are sick, we have to take bitter medicine. The bitter the medicine is, the recovery, the faster the recovery can be. Right? So the instructions which are given in the scriptures, they may seem very bitter language, very strong words, but this is the way it should be. Prabhupada used to say that, there are many speakers on Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Ramayana. They entertain people. Now he said that doesn't mean that, we should not entertain people. We should not be very nicely, speak to people very nicely. But when it comes to giving very strong instruction, the strong instruction should be given in strong words. Right? So here Vidura wanted to give strong instruction to Dhritarashtra. So he used very strong word that you are like a dog who's just waiting for the master to throw a piece of bread in front of him. Then he would eat it. This life doesn't suit you. He told Dhritarashtra that you was, sitting like a king on the throne. So this kind of life doesn't suit you. So please leave. So when Dhritarashtra heard these kind of words, immediately decided, yes, I will leave Hastinapur. Then Dhritarashtra, Gandhari, and Mother Kunti, all three of them, they left with Vidura and his wife. They went to the forest and renounced the world. So it is said that when Vidura came, when Yamaraj came in the form of Vidura for 100 years, Aryappa was appointed as the Yamaraj for 100 years, who was the son of Aditi, one of the sons of Aditi from Kashyapa Muni. And in some places it's mentioned actually, Aryappa is the expansion of Lord Vishnu himself. Whenever it happens, in any planet, a higher planetary system, if the king of that planet is not, they are not qualified, or the place is vacant, then Vishnu expands himself in that form and he takes charge of that planet. Like Surya Dev also, when there is nobody qualified to be appointed as the king of the solar planet, sun planet, then Vishnu expands himself, Narayana expands himself in the form of sun god, and he takes charge of the sun planet. That's why we call Surya Narayan, right? Surya also is called as Narayan. So Vidura, when he was, Yamaraj, when he was present on the earth planet in the form of Vidura, then Yamaraj role was played by Aditi's son. So I would like to stop here if somebody wants to share something more, or should we continue more? What's the time now?
It's already 8 o'clock. It's going to be 8 o'clock actually. 8 bajne wale hain. So maybe some people want to ask some questions. We can take some questions, I think.
Yes, that will be interesting.
है ना? Anybody wants to ask some questions, or you want to know more?
If nobody has any question, then I will have questions for you.
I have a question. Why Kunti went with them?
Because Kunti also was an elderly lady, in the advanced age, the advanced senior citizens, they would renounce the world. They would take sannyas.
Yeah.
Especially the royal family people, the members from the royal family, to set an example for common citizen, they would take sannyas. They would renounce the world. And that was because they were supposed to follow the Varnashrama system. Brahmacharya ashram, Grihastha ashram, Vanaprastha ashram, and Sannyas ashram. Because human form of life is meant to go through these 4 ashrams. And Sannyas ashram means that's the last ashram. In that, the spiritual advancement happens. People should focus on the spiritual practice and then get freedom from the cycle of birth and death. So that's a process. So the members of the royal family, they are supposed to follow the process and set an example by following themselves. They should follow so that the common citizen also would live the life according to that.
I just find it so interesting that uh, Vidura arrived at a point when the war was over, right?
Yes,
But if he had come prior to it and told, that it's time for you to move to the forest,
yes,
तो ये सब चीज नहीं होती. But शायद इसी को the whole design
yes,
जो किया हुआ था, the way that the Lord designed the whole thing is so interesting. मैं यही सोच जब आपको सुन रही थी, मैं यही सोच रही थी कि किस तरह से जीवन डिजाइन होता है.
yes,
That a particular person enters the scene when maybe maximum destruction has taken place.
correct.
तो इसके बारे में आप कुछ बताएं कि विनोद जी के एक लाइफ की एक डिजाइन होती है,
हाँ,
and the Lord had designed the whole thing in such a way
yes,
characters came in at specific times.
correct.
So just throw some light on, is there a way in which the Lord designs the whole thing? Because आपने इतनी पढ़ाई की है, so much of knowledge you have from different scriptures also. अगर आप कुछ बता सकते हैं कि
हाँ.
हम सब ने भी अपनी लाइफ डिजाइन की होगी, but most of us have come in this world only by कर्म. जो हमने
Correct.
कर्म किए हैं उसका भुगतान करना है, तो we get some kind of प्रारब्ध, और फिर उसको फिर हम जीते हैं, and then we
Yes.
create more and more karma, and then again the life cycle continues.
Very
Right? But let us say kind of give example of how a soul, जैसे आपने भी बताया, that Vidura was told to be born as a Shudra.
Yes,
And he accepted it,
correct.
right? So a normal, because we are not at his space, एक
Absolutely.
नॉर्मल आदमी जो है, जो इस काल चक्र में बंधा हुआ है, does he have a choice, or is he actually told that he has to do this? तुम्हें ये करना ही है. So is there a difference between these souls that choose a particular life, and they have that whole design, that they are involved in the choice,
Yes,
and most people are not involved in the choice? So I'm
Yes.
just asking you, क्या ऐसा होता है कि most
Yes.
souls are not involved in the choice, they are pushed by karma, and
Very
some
true.
souls are involved in the choice of their life.
very true. Yes.
So इस पे कुछ आप लाइट थ्रो करिए.
Very nice point, Truptaji, you have raised. And this kind of subject, this topic also is discussed many times. When we go for house programs, people bring up this kind of question. Very interesting point. So you yourself, whatever question you ask, actually you gave the answer to your question already. So there are certain highly elevated souls who are given that kind of freedom to choose. Correct? And as you very rightly said that we are ordinary people. हम साधारण मनुष्य है, राइट? तो हमारी जो कार्य प्रणाली है, the script which is written of our life is not by us. It's written by the higher authorities based on our karma. So whatever happens in our life, it is the reaction of our previous action, right?
Yes.
But again, when we face the reaction of our previous action, what kind of reaction we should give to that reaction of our previous action? Still we have free will. How we react to that. When we face the reaction of our previous action, what kind of reaction? Whether we react or we respond. So that choice we have. Now, when we talk about the theory of karma, in a way, it is very simple. And other perspective, if you see from other perspectives, can be very complex also. Right? So we as human beings, ordinary human beings, we have some kind of treasure or some kind of account of karma, which decided that what kind of body we should get, what kind of family we should be born in, what kind of relatives we can have. So all these things were determined according to a previous karma. We cannot change, right? But then in this lifetime also, there are certain kind of things which are prescripted based on our previous karma, which we cannot change to larger extent, but we can modify a little bit. I just give you a practical example. In one of the discussions, I had shared this example that supposing we take a seed of a mango, when we sow that seed, only mango tree will grow from that.
True.
We cannot expect papaya from a mango seed, papaya tree from a mango seed. Now, what kind of quality of the mangoes we should have? That depends on what kind of fertilizers we use, how nicely we take care of the tree, right? How much sunshine the tree gets. So these are the other factors which decide the quality of the fruit. But the nature of the fruit cannot be decided, cannot be changed. So our karma also like that. Certain basic karma which create a parameter, we cannot cross that parameter. But within that parameter, within that demarcation, some kind of changes we can still make using our free will properly. Now the free will also, if we misuse, then the boundaries of that parameter can be reduced. And if we properly use it, then it can be extended. So yes, even though we may be bound in certain boundaries, the boundary can be reduced and extended based on our current karma. I'll give you another practical example. Supposing in a sports competition, a student in a school comes first, supposing in a race, running race. Now then they announce an award for him. So they say, on the annual day of the school, we'll organize a big event. On that event, that award will be given to him, conferred upon him. Right? So all arrangements are made. It is already decided that he will get the reward. He will get the award. But supposing he decides not to go and attend that event, will he get the award? He will not get the award in the presence of so many people, and he will not get the recognition also. So he misses the opportunity by not attending that event. Right? So there are several examples like this given, that even though we may form a destiny based on our previous karma, so that destiny also can be extended or reduced based on our current karma. So present karma also is very, very important. The destiny, which is the result of our previous karma, it is called prarabdha. And our present karma is called purushartha. So if purushartha, the effect of purushartha is stronger than the prarabdha, then we can change our prarabdha.
Yeah.
Our prarabdha can be changed to a certain extent, not completely, to a certain extent.
और शायद विनोद जी शायद इसीलिए कहते हैं that time is so important.
Time is important.
समय जो है वो कितना important है, कहते to be at the right place at the right time.
Correct.
तो हम सबको शायद ईश्वर ने वो I think he gives us the मौका जरूर हमें दिया जाता है at various times in our life.
Yes.
At different kind of junctions आते हैं हमारी लाइफ में जहाँ पे वो आप फ्री विल का इस्तेमाल कर सकते हैं.
Correct.
But there are people who miss that opportunity also because of desire, some other desire. जैसे आपने कहा कि they are not able to exercise the free will for some reason. ये बहुत important चीज है. The inability to exercise free will.
Yes.
So free will is given to you, but we are not able to exercise the free will. Can you
Yes,
throw
absolutely.
some light on the reasons why we cannot exercise free will?
Yeah. Now
क्यों
here,
हम नहीं कर पाते?
before I discuss, I elaborate on this point, Diptiji, I want to share with you about, you said about the living beings who are at a higher level. They are given that opportunity to choose also. Like
हाँ,
Yamraj
हाँ,
was given an opportunity to choose what time he wants to come on the Earth planet, or in which family,
हम्म,
right?
हम्म,
So we are not at that level, so we don't get that chance,
हम्म,
right? Decisions about our future is made by the higher authorities based on our karma, correct? Now I want to share here with you about Ashwatthama. We talked about him in the previous sessions. Now the script was already written, right, about Ashwatthama. Ashwatthama also is immortal, and he had a gem, because of his extra knowledge, Dronacharya's son. Now, what happened when he shot Brahmastra to kill Parikshit in the womb of Uttara? He deviated from the script. He misused the script, right? So, because he misused the script, Krishna wanted to punish him. So, the point I want to make, sometimes, these highly elevated people also, they misuse their free will. Krishna doesn't interfere in our free will, right? But if we misuse it, then the penalty is there. So because Ashwatthama misused the free will, now that gem was removed from his forehead. So his act did not affect his duration of life. He's still alive. He's still roaming around. But that wound making him feel so much pain. And now he's very regretful that he has to live for so long. Now, some of you may know about it. Ashwatthama has to live till the end of this Kali Yuga. In the next Dwapar Yuga, Ashwatthama will become Vyasadev. Ashwatthama will appear as the Vyasadev. So that also script is already written. But because in this lifetime, in the previous Dwapar Yuga, Ashwatthama misused his free will. Now, till the end of Kali Yuga, he has to suffer. Right? So this is the way the principle of karma works. Right? Now, the point you were asking me earlier about the timing and all, can you just rephrase your question? What did you ask, Tripti ji?
मैं ये पूछ रही हूँ that समय we have been given free will, and you said that we have the free will to exercise it also, but when the time comes we don't exercise the free will. There are some people who are not able to exercise free will, right?
Yes.
It could be for many reasons, multiple reasons हो सकते हैं. तो मैं पूछ रही हूँ आपको कि वो किस तरह के reasons है. If you can throw light on some of the reasons that generally people would not use free will, तो हम सबको भी पता चलेगा कि ओ या ऐसा हुआ था जहाँ फ्री विल थी पर मैंने यूज नहीं की उसको.
Correct.
So I think that way if you can just
Yeah.
enlighten
Now
us.
see, according to our previous karma, we will be put in certain situation at certain time. Now, supposing the situation is miserable, correct? Now, due to our bad karma, we have to face that miserable situation. If we have done some pious activities, some good karma, then mode of goodness influences us, and that mode of goodness will allow us to use our intelligence properly, use our free will properly to face, not only the face miserable situation, but come out of that miserable situation. But if due to some reasons the volume of bad karma is more, then what happens? Mode of ignorance influences us. So in spite of having the opportunity, we are not able to use our free will properly.
Right. So,
Now
sir,
to-
what सो विनोद जी जो आप कह रहे हैं इज बेसिकली विवेक बुद्धि. अगर आपके पास विवेक बुद्धि नहीं है, you don't have the power to kind of discern what is right and wrong, and then you have desires, right? गलत
Yes.
सलत जो भी हमारी kind of desires है, or you are slaves of the five senses,
Yes.
right? Then it is possible that free will होते हुए भी you are not able to utilize it. You get blind.
Correct. We
No,
get
you get
blinded by
deaf.
the mode of ignorance. Yes.
Right, by the mode of ignorance, correct.
Now,
And you are not able to utilize
I'm not sure whether it can illustrate, it can help you to understand this better. This is my personal experience I want to share with you.
हाँ जी.
Long time ago, we had some devotees visiting from China. We had some events here in Hong Kong ISKCON temple. So some devotees visited from China, and some of the devotees were staying with us. So unfortunately, at that time, I ended up having some fever, very high fever. My body's temperature was very high, and my body was aching. I did not have any appetite to eat anything. So I could not interact with them. It was my responsibility as a host to interact with them, but I could not. But the devotees understood. They were not bothering me much. So now I was suffering. 3 days I suffered a lot. I was almost like a bedridden. I was just surviving on the green mung bean soup. हरे मूंग की खाली दाल में खा रहा था. So what happened? On the third day, one of the devotees from China, he came to my room where I was resting. Then he was sharing with me the temple activities, the discourse happened in the temple. I was just listening. After that, I went to, that devotee left, he went back to the temple. I went to bathroom and I went to our dining area. So on the dining table, I saw one Ayurvedic medicine. Some of you may be interested to know the name. It is called Amruta Rest. One of the very effective medicine for fever. So bottle was lying there on the dining table. Previous 3 days, I could not see it. I suffered, right? But now, why I was able to see that on that third day when the devotee, because devotee spoke to me about the discourse, the katha happened in the temple. I heard that. So Krishna cleared that my ignorance, and that bottle which was lying there in front of me, I could not see with my eyes. Then I saw that and I took it and I was fine after that.
Wow, that's
So the point
beautiful.
I want to make, the point I want to make, the suffering I had to go through because of my maybe bad karma was very kind of strong bad karma I had to suffer. But then I heard some Krishna Katha from the devotee. So my previous bad karma was completely removed. If I had not heard that, maybe a few more days I had to suffer. But this is the power of Krishna Katha.
Right. Right.
So I heard a little bit from that devotee. Then Krishna cleared that the cloud. My mind was clouded completely.
Yeah.
और जैसे कहते हैं ना चिराग तले अंधेरा.
हाँ. True. बहुत बढ़िया. Very nice, Vinod ji. Very nice.
So I hope this can help you to understand
Yeah.
a little bit
True.
more the principle of
Absolutely.
karma.
Yes. Thank you so much. Wonderful. ये जो every 15 days the kind of ज्ञान we are getting from you, धीरे धीरे drop by drop, like अमृत हमारे मन को जो है वो it's actually refreshing us. So
Thank you.
true.
Thank you for your kind and very encouraging words. And again, I really feel that I'm really indebted to you and Vashaji to take an initiative to start this. And Shakuntalaji also, she very actively participates. She does the homework.
Yes.
Before the session starts, she does the homework, and that's why she's able to answer the questions on different topics.
True.
So it's very encouraging to see,
So,
and I really feel very fortunate.
Is there something that you would like, because you are now doing this for a long time, if there is anything specific that you would like us to read as a group?
Yeah, I have
आप
requested
recommend
few
कर
times before.
सकते हैं. हाँ?
हाँ, जैसे मैंने आपको विनती की थी, I requested before.
Hmm.
Start reading from Bhagavatam.
नहीं कोई ऐसी कोई you have a book or let's say शकुंतला जी कुछ है ऐसा कि
Yes,
PDF?
ma'am. Bhagavad Puran hai, and it is on the web also. I can share the link.
हाँ तो आप
From
link
there you can read. And like
हाँ
in
put
the
it in
last,
the group में डाल दीजिए so
okay,
that you
okay.
know people read a little bit and when sir गुरुजी जब बोल रहे हैं ना तो हमारा थोड़ा 5 सेंसेस हमारे खुले हो है ना
Yes, yes, yes.
चक्षु खुले हो तो बेटर है ये मैं कह रही हूँ
Yes.
तो
I
आई
think
थिंक शेयर इट विद द ग्रुप
yes, yes, I'll share. And in the last lecture, we heard about the Kunti's prayer.
Yes.
Wonderful text. Kunti का वो 25 श्लोक है, if you read, ना लगता है कि जैसे आप कुछ भगवत गीता ही पढ़ रहे हो. Exactly भगवत गीता वाले वही
सार
श्लोक का हाँ, just in
सार
25 श्लोक.
वेरी
So that text we should read. वो
Very
मैं
nice.
शेयर कर दूंगी. हाँ.
तो तुम शेयर कर लो है ना ग्रुप
Yes,
में so
yes,
that people
yes.
can just read up a little bit because क्या होता है कि कोई भी चीज ना 15 days में at least twice or thrice if we can just read through we stay with the whole thing you know वरना 15 दिन के बाद फिर एक क्लास होता है I mean I don't want it to be like a class
Yes,
you know
correct.
मैं चाहती
It
हूँ
should be
कि
like a discussion.
हाँ like we discuss and you know even during the 15 days शकुंतला
Yes.
अगर
Yes,
हम
ma'am.
पढ़ते हैं कुछ तो इवन ग्रुप में कुछ हमारे ग्रुप में कितना सारा डिबेट डिस्कशन होता है तो इस पे भी हम अगर कुछ डिस्कस करें तो बाय द टाइम वी कम बैक नो 15 days later we have been with the thing
Yes.
you know rather than class नहीं है ये it's not a class it's like a
Yes.
लाइफ स्किल सिखाया जा रहा है यहाँ पे
So this
मैं
is
आपसे शेयर
from
करना चाहूँगा
हाँ
जब भी when I was studying in a college, so one of the professors, he was a very philosophical person, no? Knew so many different kind of subjects from the scriptures. So he shared with us when he was teaching. At the end of his lecture, he told us that next day he was going to cover certain topics. So he gave his own example. He said he was able to teach us those topics, whatever topics he taught us on that day, just one day before he studied. And he was able to teach us on that day. So he said, if we start studying one day before, when he's supposed to cover the topics, we also can reciprocate very well, understand the topics very well.
true
So he said, then you also can become like a professor 24 hours before you prepare yourself.
Yeah, correct. I think preparation बहुत अच्छा है. It's not really preparation. It's being in the flow. You know, because I think that's really what will because everybody has their own opinion, questions, and शकुंतला जी इससे क्या होगा ना कि group में when we discuss, there'll be many questions also that will come.
Yes.
So when we meet Guruji the next after 15 days क्या होगा there'll be many questions.
Yes.
So somebody may not be present on Thursday, but we still have a list of questions.
Correct.
तो वो एक मुझे लगता है हमें इसके ऊपर थोड़ा काम करना चाहिए अभी.
yes,
So
yes,
मैं क्या करूँगा शकुंतला जी, मैं ना
yes.
आपको हमारी नेक्स्ट जो गैदरिंग होगी, मीटिंग होगी, so what topics I would like to cover, मैं वो आपको टॉपिक्स भेज देता हूँ.
हाँ, very good.
So you can forward to others also.
I think Canto 1 is now completed. So next time you'll be starting second canto.
Let's see, because I have, this about Krishna's going to
Okay,
Dwarka, leaving
Dwarka.
Hastinapur.
Okay.
We will try to
वो
cover
भी
that first,
बाकी है.
because that is very interesting, very, very interesting topic.
हाँ, ठीक है. Yeah, take your time. But I think ये अच्छा रहेगा that you send us, so that everybody can read those things and then they'll have discussion and then questions and then so it will be more active.
Yeah.
है ना? Shakunda, let's work like
Yes, ma'am.
this.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I'll share.
I want to share with you, it's kind of a funny thing, but this illustrates normally the people's mindset generally. When people in India, it's very common. People, they go to attend different discourses, प्रवचन सुनने के लिए जाते हैं. तो एक जगह पे एक पंडित जी वो कथा करते रहते थे. वो भागवत सप्ताह रखी थी उन्होंने 7 दिन का था. So दो वृद्ध व्यक्ति, 2 old people always used to go and to attend the discourse. So after the first day, second day when they were going to attend the discourse, so one person asked the other old man that where did Panditji stop last evening and where is going to start from, which topic is going to start from today. The other person told him, why should we bother? He is the one who is going to do katha. It is his botheration. We just go there, sit for the katha. After that, we take the prasad and we go home. But that's it.
That's it, Vinod ji. Yes, वो attitude मैं नहीं चाहती कि हम सब में हो. इसीलिए
ऐसा
I
होना भी
said,
नहीं चाहिए.
इसीलिए मैंने शकुंतला जी को कहा, and she's very
But see,
active
in this group, Trupti ji, I'm really, I want to, from bottom of my heart, I want to thank you for starting this. You have given very nice title to this gathering, Thinking Thursday,
जी.
right? So it kind of, inspires people to think. So that aspiration and inspiration has to be there.
Yeah. ऐसे ही नाम आया था, all thanks to the Lord. ऐसा कुछ सोचा नहीं था, ऐसे ही बोल दिया था मैंने. But
So
you are right.
now I want to share, this seems like, the group we have here. It is our collective good karma.
Yeah.
It's the result of our collective good karma that we are able to glorify the Lord together.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Because in this world, whatever happens, nothing happens by accident.
True. True.
Even the accidents also have some cause.
Correct.
Which cause the accident.
Correct. That's what we believe in our work. हमारे
Yes.
काम में यही तो हम believe करते हैं कि there is no accident, there is no coincidence.
Yes.
Everything is designed.
Correct.
By
So
us.
Krishna has used Varshaji, yourself, and Shakuntalaji, people like you, to allow us to glorify the Lord together.
Yeah. Allow us to understand what He wants us to understand.
Very true.
चाहते हैं कि हम कुछ समझे, आप और आपके द्वारा हम इन सब चीज़ों को ज़्यादा मतलब समझ रहे हैं. And I think I really want more people to participate, more people to read. That is why I think we need to make the group active as far as this particular session goes. वैसे तो हमारे sessions होते रहते हैं, अलग-अलग single sessions है. But because this is an ongoing session, I think group participation is very important because each person should get the benefit.
Yes.
जो यहाँ है सिर्फ उनको benefit नहीं होना चाहिए. Everybody should get the benefit. So I think that's important. So if I can request Shakuntala ji that आज जो हमने सीखा है, whatever topics, little bit, tidbit, because I know you're writing notes. तो kind of संक्षेप में in 10-15 lines अगर आप लिख के ग्रुप पे पोस्ट करेंगे व्हाट्सएप पे, तो people will start wanting to see it more, read it more. ये जरूरी है हमारे लिए करना.
I'll do that.
Yeah.
I'll do that. Yeah.
It's always difficult to be the torch bearer, because just people are listening. वो मैं नहीं चाहती हूँ. I want people to each of us has to become a torch bearer. That's
And
what the
plus-
Lord wants,
Ma'am, do you have time?
Why not? We have time only.
Acha.
The only thing we have is time.
May I ask a personal question?
Ah.
Twice I could not get into a government job. I was offered as a teacher. So is it because of my bad karma? मैं आपसे पूछना चाहूंगी आचार्य जी.
विनोद जी.
हाँ, अभी देखिए, आपको हिंदी में उत्तर चाहिए या
कैसे
इंग्लिश में चलेगा?
whatever way आपको जो convenient लगे उसमें बताइए. मैं हिंदी भी उतना ही समझती हूँ.
हाँ, so I will just try to थोड़ी भेलपुरी भाषा में बात करूंगा.
हाँ जी. हाँ जी.
अभी देखिए, जो आपको वो जॉब नहीं मिली, the job if you were not able to get it, what happened afterwards?
Nothing. It was because of the constraints of my family life. Because मेरे husband Air Force में थे, तो मुझे बच्चे छोटे थे. फिर एक बारी बच्चे 11th में थे. I could not do it because मुझे उनके साथ ही मूव ऑन करना था, तो ट्वाइस मैंने मिस किया उसको.
हाँ, मेरे कहने का the reason I asked you what happened when you did not get the job, यदि आपको वो
आई वेंट
job,
विद द फ्लो, दूसरी जगह जाके फिर नौकरी ढूंढी, फिर नौकरी की.
see what happens many times, because see our vision is very very limited. We don't have that much foresight, we cannot see our future. So because of our limited perception, limited vision, because we are very short-sighted in that sense, so when we see from the short-term perspective, if something doesn't happen according to our wish, our desire, our expectation, our anticipation, we feel very disappointed. Correct? But as the time passes, we see many times, I'm not sure what happened with you, but I've heard from other people. Personally, I've experienced that. So when we see that, that then we realize, oh, actually, it is good that it didn't happen at that time. Otherwise, it would have become like an obstacle on my path, on my progress. I share with you my personal experience. I was working in Hong Kong in a trading company before as an operation manager. After that, I started my own business. 3 years I worked. After that, I started my own business. But what happened? The customers, they started asking for credit. And I was not financially at that level to give them credit. So then me and my wife, we discussed. Then my wife said, no, just better go and find a job to be on the safe side. At least, then there'll be financial assurance that every month you'll get some kind of salary. Coincidentally, I'm using the word coincidentally, there was an opening in an Indian company, export company, and I came to know that they were hiring new people. So I went for an interview. Interview went very well. The person who interviewed me, he said his brother was traveling at that time for business. Let him come back after 1 week. When he comes back, then he would discuss with his brother, and then he will call me for final interview. I said okay. So एक हफ्ता हो गया, 10 दिन हो गए, वहां से कोई फोन नहीं है, तो मैंने फोन किया. I called him back. He said, my brother has just come back, so we are just sorting out some orders. He has got so many orders, so we need to work on those orders. So give us another 10, 12 days. I said, okay. 10, 12 दिन, 15 दिन, 20 दिन हो गए, कोई पता नहीं है. So I felt really, really disappointed. Because the package they were offering, it was quite attractive. In those days, mid-90s, very good package they were offering. So I felt really disappointed. Why it's not happening? Now, see, our ego is so strong. When it comes to compassion, we don't show compassion towards others the way we show compassion towards our own self. Right? हमें अपने आप पे बहुत दया आती है, दूसरों पे दया इतनी नहीं आती है. So I was feeling very broken hearted, very disappointed. And I was teaching yoga at that time. So I started focusing more on teaching yoga because there was no other job. So some private lessons I got by Krishna's mercy, I started teaching yoga. Then I started focusing on Ayurvedic practice. So by Krishna's mercy, that practice picked up. So after some time, what happened? Now it's very interesting point. After a few months, I heard that that company ran into losses. They had the orders, they shipped the goods, but the customers did not pay the money. In the span of 1 week, they retrenched 35 people. Within 1 week, एक हफ्ते में 35 लोगों को निकाल दिया. So I was talking to a senior devotee. Senior devotee told me that, see, if you join that company, normally it happens, last come, first go. Correct? जो नया नया होता है कर्मचारी उसको पहले निकालते हैं. तो तुम्हें निकाल दिया होता था. अभी 3-4 महीने का तो तुमने जो समय अभी इन्वेस्ट किया है, you invested your time in teaching yoga and developing your Ayurvedic practice. Now it is happening well. So just focus on that. So after a few years, another interesting point. The person who interviewed me for that job, his wife brought her daughter for Ayurvedic consultation. Then I did a consultation for the young girl. Then her mother was interested. I did a consultation for her. Then she invited me to their place to do the consultation for her husband, the person who interviewed me. So I did a consultation for them. He recognized me. Then he told me that yeah, they ran into losses and all that. So what I learned from this lesson I learned, because I told you at that time I felt very disappointed, because I'm also like an ordinary person, right? I'm not such a big sadhu or mahatma. So I was very disappointed. And then when these incidents happened, Krishna gave me a vision. I realized if I was working with them, even if they had not retrenched people, their business was running normal, I would be working under them. I had to follow their orders, what they tell me. Now, Krishna put me in a position that they had to follow my advice. What I tell them, they have to follow that. He may be the big boss in that company, but as a consultant, his doctor, he had to follow my instructions. Right? So position wise, social status wise, Krishna put me at a higher level than that man. Right? So sometimes what happens materially, again, I want to emphasize on this point because we are short-sighted. When something doesn't happen according to our wish, our expectation, we feel very disappointed. But if we just leave it to Krishna, then Krishna makes us realize that actually, initially it may seem like a curse for us, it didn't work out. But then in long run, it can be proven as a blessing in disguise.
बिल्कुल.
Does it make sense what I'm saying?
हाँ जी, हाँ जी, हाँ जी.
हाँ.
नहीं, लेटर ऑन तो फिर मैंने जब डॉक्टर ब्रायन वेस्ट पढ़ा, मैम से मिली, सब कुछ हुआ, तो मेरे को लगा कि शायद ऐसे ही मुझे जाना था विद द फ्लो, और कोई तरीका नहीं था. शायद इट वाज बेटर फॉर माय फैमिली. प्रॉब्ली हो सकता है मुझे फैमिली से दूर रहना पड़ता अपने.
हाँ. तो क्या मतलब, see, many times what happens, many common people like us, when we are in this kind of situation, our main focus is on the financial gain, right? We don't see the overall picture, right? Now, as I said, my example I gave you, financially, maybe I could have earned more money there and in those days. But Krishna put me status-wise, in social status, he put me at a higher level than that boss of the company. But financially, I may be a little less, but social status-wise, I was higher than him. So that is more satisfying, right? Because money is not everything in life. So जैसे आपने भी कहा, आपने अपना उदाहरण भी दिया कि you could stay together with the family instead of staying away from them. So we need to see overall picture. There are so many aspects of our life we have to consider, not only the financial aspect. So this is my sharing I would like to share with you. So you see that how it worked out for you. Yes. So then it will make you understand that whether it was a good kind of a destiny for you or bad destiny for you.
Okay, so I think today's discussion has been good. We had a talk and then we had a lot of question answers. So thank you so much, Umaji, for asking the question. Shakuntala, thank you for preparing the slides. And Parshaji, good to see you. And we have Meena and Ashaji and many more who joined in today. So thank you everybody for being here. Anshu, good to see you here. Ashaji, Divya, and Jyoti. Sanjeev ji has been here through the session. Sanjeev ji, that's wonderful. Radhika ji, Radhe Radhe, Hare Krishna. I'm looking forward to your sessions. I just saw the entire schedule and some very interesting topics are there. Varsha ji, aapne shayad topics diye honge. They are so interesting. So I'm really looking forward to those sessions. So Urvi is also here. Thank you, Urvi, Vikas, Leelu. Thank you guys, everybody. Varsha ji, kuch कहना चाहते हैं आप?
I was just going to say thank you so much. I mean, it's been wonderful being a part of this platform and, having Sharma ji over here with us. And it's always been a blessing to be in your company, in company of all these wonderful people over here, and it's such a pleasure to be with all of you.
Yeah,
Really,
true,
great, great
absolutely.
delight.
We are truly
And
blessed.
you have to listen to Sri Radhika ji, because oh my God, every time she sends me an audio message, it's like music to the ears. Her
Well,
voice.
then you
is
need to forward the audio message also. आपको अच्छा सा म्यूजिक सुनने को मिल रहा है, words of wisdom, और फिर आप आगे नहीं कर रही, गलत बात है वर्षा जी. You have to forward the
It's
messages.
usually a conversation between the two of us about the program. And then when she speaks, oh my God, the way she speaks, her voice is so soft and gentle and so sweet. Oh my God.
But the topics are truly enlightening.
Yes.
I'm really excited about the
Looking forward
topics.
to it. But of course,
Yes.
unfortunately, I mean, fortunately or unfortunately for us, that she's so busy that she can't give us every month. So she's going to give us, once in 2 months.
I think you've sent the schedule to Garima, right? She's put
Yes.
the
Yes, I
scheduling
did.
on.
Yes,
Yeah.
I did. Yeah.
क्या है ना वर्षा, we have to try and please the platform. We have so many 500 people, right? So
Absolutely.
there are a few people obviously who want topics on something else also. तो मुझे लग रहा है कि हमें ना balance करने की ज़रूरत है.
No, what I was saying is Radhika ji doesn't have time. So she said, I can't do, every month. I will do it once in 2 months.
No problem. We will continue. So there's no problem. हमारे पास कोई time वो तो है नहीं. There's no limitation as far as time goes. Time is timeless. So we can continue till the time we can. So that's great.
So Radhika ji, we are looking forward to hearing you even right now. At least
Yeah, I think Radhika ji है यहाँ पे.
Yes, right
That
here.
is why. Radhika ji, please, अगर आप अपनी वीडियो भी ऑन करें और थोड़े दो तीन प्लीज कुछ भी आप कहना चाहती है, anything.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you very much. I for all your kind words. I'm very humbled by all your kind words and very touched, and I'm really looking forward to also speaking at some point. I'll switch on my video very briefly. I didn't do it because I'm in my 90s, so I.
In your 90, you're looking beautiful.
No.
So I'm wondering what you would look if not in your 90.
Thank you, Varsha ji, for your kind words, and Trupti ji for the opportunity. I am looking forward to it. And Varsha ji was saying earlier that she finds my voice so sweet. I wish my husband thought the same.
Of course he thinks. Come on.
Now he
Radhika
has
ji, ऐसे हो नहीं सकता that he does not think your voice is sweet. Maybe you're looking for a compliment.
Sharma ji, क्या हो
Looking for
रहा
a
है?
compliment.
No, I tell her that, she sounds very sweet on the phone, but not in person.
अभी तो हम तो कुछ कह नहीं सकते इसके बारे में.
इसीलिए हम लोग है ना एक दूसरे से फोन पे बात करते हैं एक दूसरे की रूम से.
No. She's so beautiful. You cannot do that. आपकी
I'm just joking. She's a very good speaker. She's a very good speaker.
She will provide soothingness for your eyes. इसलिए आपको देख के बात करने की जरूरत है उनसे. Anyway, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
everybody
Vinodji.
for
Thanks
being
a
here.
Thank you, Maji. Thank you.
Thank you
so much.